I'm looking at this first scene, and I technically know what is going to happen, having read the comics and all, and I'm thinking, ooh, half-naked bodies by a swimming pool. Ooh, boy ignoring personal space by being half-naked. Oh, blood. Ah, no, get it away from me, get it away from me. No.
The son of a biscuit is a nice way to say son of a biscuit.
Thanks. Now I have to censor that.
You're welcome.
Welcome to Tea and Toffees, a weekly VTuber podcast. Hello, I'm Neitshayd, your local undead demon.
And hi, I'm Cecilia. I was a witch in my previous life.
This week, we're talking about the Umbrella Academy. The Umbrella Academy isn't actually finished yet. We might come back to revisit it at a later point. Maybe not. Probably not.
We'll have to wait and see.
Before we truly get into it, I have a little task for you, Cecilia.
Okay.
Think of a power, superpower, one of the unknown children of the 43 that were born in season 1 could have. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it should be uncommon enough to fit into the Umbrella Academy's usual weirdness. That means no mainstream flying, elemental manipulation, shapeshifting, etc. Something like necromancy or object teleportation, which would be the ability to teleport objects of known locations to yourself or objects you're touching to a specific location. There's plenty of potential to limit and unlimit this kind of ability. It's not the most original, but it's also not the most common, unlike the standard teleportation. Let's see, another example would be illusions of the type that seem to be so real to all of your senses that you can actually make people drop dead because their brains think they are dying. With limitations, of course. Or luck, which can turn out to be either good luck or bad luck. Plus points if you can't control it.
Oh, plus points. How about I can commune, I can talk with Toffee darling, with our cat Toffee darling.
Only Toffee darling?
Isn't it right, Toffee? Or maybe they go on missions. I would need some attack power. So maybe not our Toffee darling. Maybe something created for me, like, which is also like artificial animal, or like, let's just go with like mythical creature, beast thingy. And I'm a child at first. Maybe something big enough that I can like ride as a child, and then I can use it to attack, and I can command it, and in the downtime I can cuddle it.
So animal communication.
Animal communication. Is that like uncommon enough for you?
It's not being overused, I suppose. It's like, Of course, there's nothing original we can think of that hasn't been thought of already.
Yeah.
There's this nice wiki online, power listing, that has so many abilities. Like, if you ever need anything, you can look that up and just go to a random page or something. My personal is Mentefairy, which is the ability to make your thoughts into reality. It's super OP. It's also super difficult if you can't control it, because anything you think about could become real. Anyway.
So the next time I talk to my friends online, and we that we always play that one game, and if you include superpower again, then I could just cheat with looking up that list. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Oh wait, I think they might be watching the podcast, so now they know that I would be cheating, so I can't do that now. Darn it! Why did I say it?
Your own fault.
Yeah, my own fault.
All right. Dear listeners, watchers, whatever. If you have any genius ideas, why don't you comment them down below? Or if you're on Spotify, I think there's like this Q&A function, which can be used as comments. I don't know. Anyway, so Umbrella Academy is, who would have thought it, based on comics.
Yes. Who would have thought?
We seem to have unintentionally picked out quite a few of those.
Yeah, and I once again have not read the comics, so I once again can't say anything in regards to them.
Because that is anything new.
Totally new.
So, as the one who read the original comic, as usual, I shall talk a bit about that first. For that, though, maybe we should address Viktor's name and pronouns a bit.
Maybe.
So, in the comics, the white violin has so far identified as female. This might change in the future, or it might not. Therefore, I will use female pronouns for the comic book character and refer to her as either number 7 or the white violin. For the TV show character, Cecilia and I decided to use his previous name, Wanya, but neutral pronouns, up until he comes out as transgender and changes his name to Viktor. So, Netflix's The Umbrella Academy is loosely based on a comic book series of the same name, which consists of 3 published series so far and a few short stories, with a total of 24 issues. And while there's been a 4th series announced to be published someday.
Someday, very specific.
Yes.
Someday
quite.
in the future.
Okay. Apocalypse Suit is the first series and got adapted in season 1 of the show, followed by Dallas for season 2. The 3rd series is called Hotel Oblivion, from which some elements were used as inspiration for season 3. And then the as of yet unpublished 4th comic series was announced as Sparrow Academy and appears to have been incorporated into season 3. How faithfully is obviously impossible to determine at this point. Which also means that season 4 of the Umbrella Academy, the one supposedly, I don't know whether, I think they announced that it is going to be the last one, but who knows, things might change. I think they also finished filming, if I could be wrong.
I don't know. I was just like, season 3 ended, and I was like, this ending, it looks like there's going to be a season 4. I didn't even know there was announced that there will be a season 4, or that they started filming or even finished filming. I didn't even know that.
I think the announcement came quite a while ago. Either way, season 4 will likely not draw on any comic source material. Not that it matters, because the man who wrote the Umbrella Academy is involved with the show.
Yeah.
That dude is also actually a musician and one of the founders of My Chemical Romance.
As if I'd know what My Chemical Romance is?
Excuse you?
What? I've never heard of it.
It is only one of the most famous rock bands in this world. They've been around since the early 2000s. So, well, you were already born by that time. Pretty well known for being part of the emo movement back then.
Well, I didn't know anything about the emo movement back then. Yeah.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I really can't.
Maybe there are some others.
I don't know you. Who are you? How can you not know My Chemical Romance? Honestly.
Maybe our audience can tell us in the comments as well if they know of it. Maybe I'm not the only one. Or they can tell us if they've heard of it. And then basically say, yeah, Cecilia, you're the only one who has never heard of them.
Yes, please tell Cecilia that she's the only one.
Please tell me I'm not the only one. Please.
Honestly. Do you remember that infamous Harry Potter fanfic I told you about some years ago? The worst fanfic to ever be written?
I think I do.
There's a lot of emo culture influence to be found, and My Chemical Romance is mentioned a few times. The protagonist even attends a concert at one point. This was probably one of the weirdest way to discover a band, but that's how I became aware of them.
And how long ago was this?
Years and years ago. Can't have been more than a few years after I got stuck in this world, so around a decade ago, I guess.
Long, 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 long ago.
Anyway, so this musician who wrote The Umbrella Academy, like I mentioned, is a co-producer of the show, and he was also involved with some of the soundtrack songs for The Umbrella Academy.
Oh. I mean, fitting if he's a musician and then for the show, and yeah, fitting.
Yes. So, Apocalypse Suit is the first comic series, written ages ago. I haven't written it down, so I don't know when it was published. Starts with some dude wrestling a tentacle monster, and then cuts to the worst kind of body horror. Previously not pregnant woman suddenly giving birth out of nowhere. Horrible, horrible.
What body horror? I mean, I know it wasn't like the yeah. I mean, a bit of horror, all of a sudden pregnant and giving birth, but...
What do you mean a bit? The worst kind of horror.
No, could have been worse. There are worse things out there.
This is the worst thing. Either way, so, we learn right from the start, might be like page 3 of the comic or something, that Sir Reginald Hargreaves is a space alien. And this space alien adopts 7 of the 43 children, as many as he was able to find. As he tells the journalists, he sought them out to save the world.
Huh. In the show, we don't learn about the alien part until like some episodes into season 2. We learn that Reginald Hargreaves is an alien in the episode called 743, which is episode 9 of season 2, so the second to last episode of that season. And technically, we only saw a shot of the back of his head after he took off the human face disguise. But it was enough to tell you that he is not, in fact, human. I mean, I guess we also already knew that he has lived for an absurdly long amount of time before that. So we knew something was up, but like the alien part only came in the second to last episode of season 2, which quite late if it's like third page or something in the comics.
It's pretty early on. It's like you got the wrestler dude with the tentacle monster, then you got the explanation about the children being born, and then so Reginald Hargreaves, space alien. So, space alien Reginald Hargreaves adopts 7 of those mysteriously born children.
And is that ever explained? I mean, why those women suddenly gave birth out of nowhere?
Not really. Anyway, he adopts them, and then they disappear until the Eiffel Tower goes berserk. Yes, you've heard that right. The Eiffel Tower goes berserk. The comics are definitely more wild than the show, and that's saying something. Either way, number 7 is not special at all and has to watch with Mr. Monaco, aka Reginald, while the other children fight the Eiffel Tower with their special powers. At this point, actually, let's have a short intermission for our main characters. Comic and show. So, intermission, our MCs. First of all, the MCs and people generally look more normal and less crazy and comic-style wacky. It's most noticeable with the time travel assassins. I mean, Hazel and Cha-Cha did get their masks, but they're not wearing them all the time. And all the others, time travel assassins look mostly normal.
But they also wear masks.
Yes, but you should read the comics, or at least take a look at some of their pages, and you will instantly notice that everything looks really crazy and weird and odd. And I mean, that's how comics are. It's the comic thing.
Comics.
So, number 1, aka Space Boy, aka Luther, is the leader of the Umbrella Academy with his super strength.
Super strength and resistance like a gorilla.
Luther looks way more human in the show compared to his comic counterpart. Comic Luther was a human head on a huge gorilla body. He's, well, such a Hufflepuffy Gryffindor. A Gryffindory Hufflepuff? A Gryffindor with the heart of a Hufflepuff. Or a Hufflepuff with moments of Gryffindor madness? Oh, a Hufflepuff trying too hard to be a Gryffindor. There, that's it.
Sure. Yeah, I think that fits. He was the only one left in the Umbrella Academy by the end, and that shows how loyal he is. So Hufflepuff is fitting, and of course they all left. They had no reason to stay. The father is shit. There is no love between the siblings, and they only get used by Reginald, and who wouldn't want to leave? Well, I guess free food and a roof over your head, but is risking your life for that worth it, though? Or would you rather do a normal job and earn your own money?
I don't know. Depends on the specifics, I suppose. I wouldn't mind risking my life because there is no life left to risk. I'm already dead.
Not everyone is as weird as you are, Neitshayd.
I suppose.
Yeah. And why didn't Reginald tell Luther why he sent him to the moon? I mean, being tasked with protecting Reginald's wife is a show of trust, after all. But not telling him makes it rather obvious he doesn't trust him, after all.
Corpse of his wife. That's important. Dead wife. Dead.
Dead. Unlike you, who is undead, but dead, all the same. Yeah, the lack of trust in his children causes Luther to have some self-esteem issues. Yeah, let's just give mental health problems to all of the children. Hooray!
Well done.
Yes,
Great
well
parenting.
done. Well done.
Great parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to number 2, the Kraken. Yes, that is correct. Diego is the Kraken. He can hold his death his death.
Yes, he can hold his death indefinitely.
I meant to say he can hold his breath indefinitely. He's also good with knives. But yeah, Diego is the Kraken.
Wait a second. Because in the show, he can control knives. And he can also redirect bullets, which actually made me think, that does he have like control over metal or something? Is it just weapons made from metal? And how large can the metallic weapon be?
I think his power in the show is to alter the trajectory of flying objects.
I mean, he does always throw his knives and then alters the like where they are flying to. Was it ever specified that it's like altering trajectory of flying objects? Because if it is, then I have probably just missed it.
I don't know, but his comic counterpart has a different ability.
And then in season 2, Diego lands himself in a mental hospital because he tries to kill the man who killed Kennedy, and he tried so hard, and I was just like, it made me wonder, why does he want to save him? Like, he should know that would change history, and shouldn't he enjoy the benefit of hindsight that he has? Like, okay, I guess he probably wants to change the USA for the better, but how does he know that it would change for the better? Did he want to take a leap of faith? Like, did he get a hero complex from the bad parenting?
Diego isn't exactly the kind to think things through. So, step first, ask questions never.
Yeah. So he just wanted to do a good step.
Yes. Perfectly understandable. Perfectly relatable.
For you.
So, I heard a rumor that number 3, the rumor tells rumors.
Which basically mind control, which also highly dangerous in my opinion. Impulsive decisions can have dramatic consequences. It also encourages selfish behavior. She can technically get everything she wants, and that just screams mental health issues. Growing up knowing you have that kind of ability, there's also a moral dilemma here. And one could be like, yeah, my powers, my advantage, I did achieve it on my own because these powers are my own. But not knowing if the affections you receive are real or not, that's not good for the mental health of most people. And does it make you happy to get everything you want? Maybe. But we all know from various media that it always is a balance. There needs to be darkness for there to be light. Without despair, there is no hope. You need negative emotions to appreciate the positive emotions. And what will make you happy if you can have it all?
Too deep, Cecilia. Wrong show. This is a family tragedy with weirdness levels maxed out, not a philosophical drama meant to inspire deep thinking.
But I thought I was supposed to do a bit more deep thinking.
Wrong show.
But okay. And she used her power to get the man she wanted and to put her daughter to sleep when she protests about not wanting to go to sleep just yet. And I call that selfish as fuck.
Yeah, you think at first that this is someone to empathize with. A mother in the middle of getting divorced, trying to get custody over her beloved daughter. But the more we learn about Allison, the more it is revealed how even the desire to be with her daughter is ultimately rooted in her being so extremely self-centered.
And then we got season 2 and it was like Allison not using her powers. That was good character development for her. She learns to love herself a bit more, achieving things without her powers, no manipulation. And then it all goes down the drain.
Like I said, Allison's entire personality centers around her selfishness. So, number 4, the Seance, aka Klaus, has psychic abilities, but is hindered by his own personality. He's technically able to call upon dead spirits. He tries to contact an engineer to help with the Eiffel Tower, for example. But I love Klaus and 5. And Klaus is actually a living Ouija board, like the hello and goodbye palm tattoos. And, I wonder if Klaus could be considered a manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah, I think Klaus is like he's my favorite character in the show. He's just very entertaining to watch. He's having fun being tortured. He's amazing. And his power, that's certainly not everyone's cup of tea. It is mentally very taxing, in my opinion.
Perfectly normal ability for necromancers, though. No big deal.
Yeah, but I'm not one for necromancy either.
Necromancy is awesome.
For undead demons, I suppose. Not for former witches. At least not all of them. And yeah, Klaus, he has an amazing actor. I was like, I watched this and I was like, this actor is good. I don't know his name, but good casting choice.
Yes. Most casting choices are. Have you ever found it? I think none of the shows anyway, most of the shows we've talked about so far have great casting choices. But not all of them. Anyway, so they have a very diverse cast and great acting abilities, and the producers took their actors' opinions into account regarding the roles they played. Klaus is a great example of this, but we'll discuss that at a later point.
Is he immortal? Because we see him come back to life. His wounds heal. So how much damage can he take before he is dead? Because unlike you, Neitshayd, he's not undead. Death didn't stick with either of you, but in a different way.
Who knows? There are mortals out there. You don't need to be undead to be immortal. Many paths lead to immortality. Unless you're an ordinary human. Humans shall never reach immortality because humans are...
No cursing out humans. Neitshayd, you do that more often than is healthy.
Alright, so... Number 5, codename The Boy, who disappeared several days before the story even begins in the comics.
The one without a name. Yeah, I mean, and his powers like space and time travel. That sounds very cool, if you ask me. And it also reminded me of the Creation Trio a bit, but maybe only because we recently did a Pokemon episode. Though Giratina's powers are missing, like 5 can't enter a parallel universe.
The Distortion World. And we recorded 2 Pokemon episodes.
Yeah, I momentarily forgot what it was actually called in English, because back then I didn't play the games in English. Yes, we did record 2 Pokemon episodes. And it also must be very weird to be 58 years old mentally, but to be stuck in the body of a child. And getting treated like a child can have its upsides, but in the situation they are in, I would prefer to appear 58 years old.
Well, technically he is a grandpa with the shell of a child. At least that's what Pogo tells us in the comics. So his insides are old.
Insides are
No
old.
idea how that works. Like, yeah, he has the body of a grandpa, but the outer shell of his body is that of a child.
So he has like a liver of a 58-year-old man.
Don't forget that the time travel assassins modified his body.
Oh, yeah.
Also, he is a literal child in the comics. The show version looks a little bit older, but I suppose since the actor is like an adult. Yeah.
Like for an adult, the actor like looks young in the show. He looks young. It does look like child, teenager, pubescent body and stuff. And imagine getting told off by someone you perceive as a child. Like 5 has to tell the others to get their acts together.
Moving on to number 6, the Horror, who has tentacles.
He is also dead. Our dear Ben is dead. And I don't remember how he dies. Probably on one of the missions.
Well, you can't remember because we're never told.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we got never told. I just assumed, I just didn't notice. Whatever. I like Ben, at least Umbrella Academy Ben. He was nice. He tried his best to help, and his interactions with Klaus, they were entertaining. They were always entertaining.
Indeed. And the last of our main cast, number 7, has no codename initially, but is later dubbed the White Violin.
Number 7's power is sound to energy. And is the energy specified at any point? Like, light is energy, but the tendrils they use to hold their brothers in midair? What kind of energy is that? And did energy convert their black suit to white? Did the energy just oxidize the black color pigments or something, and the new compound appears as white? I didn't get that.
Well, 1, energy is already a physical, property. A physical property. 2, who cares what kind of energy it is? This is a superhero family tragedy. Extremely amplified sound waves. There. Happy? And
Sure.
3, there is no explanation for the suit turning white other than it being an homage to number 7's comic transformation into a literal white violin. Like, the white violin in the comics is kind of naked, like literal white violin woman type, but in the show instead we get Vanya Gun Dark with a really cool and androgynous suit that reminds me of an orchestra conductor with the tails and stuff. And that was a very appreciated change, way more fitting for the changes they made to the character's personality overall, and not playing into the typical makeover trope like wallflower to sexy lady stuff that just didn't fit with the show's character.
Yeah. The white suit, it did fit. It fit well.
I personally
That's
prefer the
true.
black version of the suit, but either way,
I
looked
mean,
really cool.
black isn't a color, but if black were a color, then black would be your favorite color.
No,
No? Oh yeah, I forgot.
my favorite color is blue.
A light blue, like the endless blue sky.
Blue. But I would never wear blue. I only wear black. Anyway, lovely violin playing from Vanya in episode 1. Or just generally everywhere in the show. Like whenever we hear Vanya playing. Oh. Does he play as Viktor? I don't think we get to see Viktor play his violin.
I only think that they played the violin in season 1. I don't even think we got some violin playing in season 2. At least I don't remember.
I think they might have. Maybe in the flash. I don't remember. But the musical pieces in Vanya's scenes are generally very epic. And I mean, the rest of the soundtrack as well, because of course it is.
Of course it is. The music is just good. It is not a very serious show. It could have been, but it is more humor and comedy. And a lot of those vibes come through the music.
Except for Vanya's violin pieces. Those are always serene and melancholic.
Yeah, they are the exception. But like the rest of the scenes, like you get a serious scene where you should not laugh, then you put the music over it and it becomes more lighthearted, as if it wants to be a comedy and not a drama. And that was that made it more entertaining for me. I like that, and it's very rare, and they make it work. You can just sit there and vibe to all the crazy shit that goes on screen, and there is a lot of crazy shit on screen, like murder on screen, and I'm just there vibing to it all because of the music. It was fun.
Murder is always fun.
To you, I suppose it is. So, of course, you would say that. Yeah, and yeah, number 7, you have all this violence, and they are like OP to the point that their powers need to be suppressed because dangerous. And maybe with good parenting, there would have been no need to fear number 7. Maybe the child just needed a gentler hand, you know?
Maybe. Alright. Back to Apocalypse Suit, the comic. So, remember we were fighting the Eiffel Tower?
Yes, I remember.
So, the tower is being controlled by a zombie robot, Gustav Eiffel, which is apparently a spaceship. The Eiffel Tower is apparently a spaceship, and it takes off at the end. So, Eiffel Tower lost, Paris saved, ice cream acquired.
Ice cream is the most important part here.
Yes. The children deserve ice cream.
Yes.
So, many things have stayed the same from the comic to adaptation after the Eiffel Tower fiasco. Many things have not stayed the same. So, yeah, Eiffel Tower incident. We skip forward some years. The children are now adults. Number 1, aka Space Boy, is, well, in space, gorilla body and all. Reginald has just died. Number 7 has written and published a book. Pogo is waiting for the children, and Number 5 has returned looking the same as he did when he disappeared 20 years ago. So yeah, sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, sounds a bit familiar.
Number 4 / the seance's psychic abilities apparently also include telekinesis, which I kind of left that out in the show.
Yeah,
it's not ghosts using, it's not ghosts moving things through the seance's abilities. It's actually him using telekinesis in the comics, and he can make use of that perfectly well. Like, he flies around and stuff and levitates his suitcase, and yeah.
Oh, not lifting heavy suitcases upstairs and into trains, and that would be nice.
Indeed. So the apocalyptic future that 5 comes from has a lot of corpses lying around. They didn't include that in the show, sadly. Would have loved to see that.
It was mostly just, like, what is it called? Debris and rubble?
Debris?
Could also be.
So,
Rubble.
like,
a lot of rubble.
When I say a lot of corpses, I mean a lot of corpses.
Corpses on top of corpses? Like
yeah.
Five on top of each other?
In the show, we only see him discover his siblings dead. Yeah. I'd say the plot of Apocalypse Suit is rather similar to season 1 initially. We got the extremely dysfunctional family and all, but the characters' personalities give off different vibes. Overall, only number 7's story differs significantly. She's invited to audition for some shady villain orchestra, the Orchestra Verdammten, which translates to the Orchestra of the Damned, roughly. And the conductor literally introduces his orchestra as madmen and murderers.
Fun.
And, well, he wrote this lovely musical piece called The Apocalypse Suit. Number 7 doesn't join at first, goes to her family instead, is driven off by an angry Kraken. So, yeah, immediately, it's like she arrives in the amidst fire and murder robots, and Kraken is very angry and just drives her off, and then she returns to join the shady villain orchestra.
So, now she's a villain?
It's a bit... She does, like, undergo a makeover, so to speak. It's an operation. The conductor operates on her, and we see the pills she takes, medicine, whatever it is, and then she comes out as a literal white violin.
White violin.
You know, for all that the comics genre is labeled as superheroes, there's quite a lot of gore everywhere. Like, lots of people dying, children being torched alive, brains and organs splattered about, and there was this villain who cut off Rumour's arm when she was still a child, though she somehow regained her arm later on. And then he programmed some robots to attack, in case the Umbrella Academy ever formed as a team. Which is exactly the scene number 7 walks in on. Murder robots everywhere.
So, I take it you enjoyed it a lot? Because of all the blood and gore?
Yep. Anyway, our dear number 7, like I mentioned, gets turned into a white violin. Literally looks like a personified white violin playing a white violin. And she actually kills the conductor. I mean, when he performed the operation, she told him, "I will kill you." And she fulfilled that promise and kills him. And Pogo, very gruesomely. It's awesome.
So now she fits into the orchestra she joined because now she's a murderess.
Exactly. And when the siblings confront the white violin, Seance channels his inner Reginald, not the real one. He pretends to channel the real one to fool the white violin. But that doesn't stop the chunk of moon falling on Earth. And then Seance stops the chunk of moon with his telekinesis. And
would you look at that?
The Eiffel Tower falls on the Hargreaves house and destroys it. And that's where the Apocalypse Suit ends. Which is different from the show, obviously, because in the show Klaus doesn't have psychic abilities that include telekinesis. Only communing with the dead.
Yeah. So let's jump back in time to save us.
6 comic issues aren't much. The TV show has much more time to expand on the story. It leaves out unnecessary details, fleshes out characters and their relationships, and the TV show generally does what a good adaptation should do, I think. Like, either the source material is so good you should only change what is necessary, or it isn't and you turn something that was fine into something that is good. I would say the Umbrella Academy is not an adaptation like The Sandman. It's more like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but in a good way. Like, Netflix's Umbrella Academy fully leans into being nonsense at its heart and a family tragedy at its core, and I honestly really like it. I think it managed what Chilling Adventures of Sabrina failed to do in a way.
Yes.
Both versions of the Umbrella Academy have their own charm, each doing what their medium is best suited for. the comics are like all comics, or most comics are like kind of wacky and wild, and that's just a comic thing, I think. That's what they do. But live-action TV shows simply aren't able to pull that off in the exact same way, so they have to adapt the material. And I'd say they did a very good job at it.
I mean, I haven't read the comics, but it was a good show. So, good adaptation.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the second comic series, Dallas. This one starts with another fight of the children versus a monument. The Mr. President, to be precise. The American president.
The American president.
There is this super big stone statue, which I only know about because of the museum film series. The one where everything comes alive at night. Anyway, so...
I mean, a night in a museum. Yeah.
Something like that.
And then everything comes to light, and then you have a giant Abraham Lincoln statue.
Yeah. So... I wonder why the police monkey doesn't appear in the show.
What police monkey?
Yeah, police monkey.
Yeah.
There are a lot of monkeys around. Anyway, so now Five's time travel assassin past comes up. Which, central point. But more importantly, Seance comes back from getting shot in the head and makes Hazel kill Cha-Cha and then himself. So Hazel kills Cha-Cha and then Hazel kills himself. Which is basically Klaus possessing Hazel and then killing Cha-Cha and then killing himself in Hazel's body, and blood and brain splatter everywhere. It's awesome.
Of course you would say that.
And then the Seance going back in time and fighting in a war happens, like the show, but in the comics, Space Boy and Kraken tag along. And there's a soldier monkey and vampires? And a gigantic plasma mummy thingy? And Klaus has a baby now?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, so Seance brought his brothers along. Klaus with Luther and Diego. And they went a bit too far into the past, to the wrong place. Meanwhile, Allison is tagging along with Five to try and stop Old Man Past Five from rebelling against the Time Travel Assassin Organization. And while the White Violin is still out of commission from Apocalypse Suit, and number 6, the horror has so far not appeared at all outside the childhood scenes. Or he might have? I think there was a scene with Seance and Ghostman somewhere, but I don't remember. All I remember is that Ghostman looks like Batman.
Okay.
So that is how most of the siblings find themselves in Dallas. 5 out of 7.
I mean, do we know in the comics what happened to Ben? How he died?
Nope.
Okay. So we don't learn in the show, and we also don't learn in the comics.
Exactly. Yeah, so Luther and co stop Mini Five from making Old Five kill the president. Or from stopping Old... Anyway, but Mini Five had already put Allison in... Wait, let me...
Yes.
Let me think for more. Yeah, so the siblings, except for Five, want to stop Kennedy from being killed. But Five, obviously, young Five, the older young Five, it's complicated. You have the old dude Five who's younger than the... Yeah, because old man Five is younger than Mini Five.
Yes, he is.
So Mini Five is with the commission, and Allison tags along, right? And they are trying to stop old dude Five from rebelling and not killing Kennedy. Whereas the rest of the siblings, as in the boys, Klaus, Luther, and Diego, try to stop Mini Five from stopping. Anyway, it's like they want Kennedy to live, and Five's like, Kennedy has to die. Anyway, and they succeed in stopping the whole Five, and well, there are 2 Fives stuff, but Mini Five has put Allison in Kennedy's car, disguised as his wife, and Allison heard a rumor that the president's head was going to explode.
Oh, lovely, so the president's head exploded.
Yeah.
Blood and brain juice everywhere.
Yeah, looks like he got shot, doesn't it? And then the siblings are returned home, to their own time and offered ice cream by the fish guy who gets eaten by Mini 5. So nothing changed in the end. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, mission accomplished. Ice cream acquired. Everything is good.
Yep. Although I think they don't actually eat ice cream.
They don't?
No, it's like ice cream, and then they're like, we're too old for this. And 5 then eats the fish.
But ice cream. Ice cream.
Talking fish. Imagine that, eating a talking fish raw.
Can you make that into sushi? Please and thank you.
So, the third series, Hotel Oblivion. The very same hotel we see in season 3 looks awfully familiar, but it's quite different. So, Hotel Oblivion has staff without faces, very curious guests, and a desolate nothingness outside the building. I think this is where Reginald puts the villains his kids to feed, and they obviously break out and wreak havoc.
Obviously.
I think that's the best way I can describe what happens in Hotel Oblivion. I don't know what to make of this one. The story is weird, hard to put into words. Lots of things happen, each sibling doing their own thing. I don't know. There's a dude who looks like Thor, like Norse god Thor, and then there's a baby from 2 villains and a prophecy thing involved somehow, and I don't know. Oh, I think I forgot to mention that the robot mom is super weird right from the beginning, but she gets even weirder in this one. Oh, hey, Ben. Bye, Ben. Yeah, well, Hotel Oblivion is nothing like season 3 of the show. Really, the hotel design seems to be one of the very few inspirations taken from it. But I wouldn't say that's a bad thing. And at the end of this comic series, there's a group of people with superpowers and little sparrow symbols on their chests saving the day. And Robot Mom calls them family, when she, at an earlier point in the comic, brings the former White Violin to them. So, it can't be the time travel that we don't really know what's up with it. And I wonder how much of Sparrow Academy, the yet-to-be-released 4th comic series, was incorporated in season 3. I wonder how much we would have found in season 3 had it been published already. But it hasn't been, so...
Wait and see. Wait and see.
Yeah, and season 4... Yeah, I mean, since they already scrapped the Hotel Oblivion storyline, and season 3 is basically like the 4th comic series, I wonder what season 4 will be.
Once again, we will have to wait and see.
Yes. Now, so much for the comics.
Yeah.
Let us talk about diversity, both in ethnicity and LGBT plus representation.
Okay.
And general opinions about how the diversity was handled in the Umbrella Academy are divided, as they always are. And trying to be inclusive and considerate in this day and age is a literal headache, wherever you yourself fall and whatever you identify as. And gosh, I am so glad that I am not human and don't fall under any category at all. Like, I can choose human categories to describe myself with, but I can also choose not to put myself in boxes. At the end of the day, not being human is great. Gender, race, sexual orientation does not apply to a demon, especially an undead one. Wow, imagine me being human. So many complications to face. Humans make everything so complicated.
How many mental disorders would you be diagnosed with, do you think?
Too many. Extreme case of random forgetfulness, and whatever having too many lines of thoughts at once that need to be entertained by multitasking, or we won't be able to concentrate at all and start daydreaming and, well, doing things that essentially equate to multitasking anyway would be classified as. And I don't really get humans most of the time, but that is a given. I don't know what your guys' problem is. I'm doing just fine.
Debatable. But I also don't get human at times.
So, some characters changed genders from comic to show, like Diego's cop, one of the two time travel assassins. I think it was Chacha, as well as their boss. They were all the time travel assassin boss. Those were all originally men. There's Viktor, of course. And there's a lot more diversity when it comes to ethnicity. This word. Nationalities. There.
Yeah.
Like Allison, Diego, and Ben from the Academy, Chacha, the Sparrow Kids, etc. In the comics, there were some Indian people working at Reginald's Manor, but yeah.
Yeah, they removed the Indian assistant in the show, which was a good decision, if you ask me.
Definitely. You haven't read the comics, but but you can tell from hearing about it alone that it's
yeah.
We do see some people of color here and there in the comics, more so in later issues, but still. Anyway, so let's talk a bit more in depth about this.
I think the 7 children all have different nationalities, don't they? Even though it's not that noticeable, I think you can ignore it for the most part if you want to. Let's see. Diego and 5 are, what's the word? Hispanic?
5 is not Hispanic.
No?
5 is 5. Diego, on the other hand, is actually seen speaking Spanish in season 3. Doesn't exactly make sense considering how he was raised, but perhaps he taught himself later on to honor his ancestry. Diego could also be Latino. His actor is Mexican-American, so maybe he's Mexican? American?
Maybe. Could be. Who else do we have? Yeah, you have Allison.
Who might be French. Her name certainly sounds French. I think I read somewhere about Allison being born in Cape Town, South Africa. Could be wrong though.
As if I would know. Who else do we have? Viktor? I would say maybe Russian.
Makes sense. In Russian, the name Vanya is actually a male name as far as I am aware. It is derived from Hebrew, though, an unisex name in some cultures. The name Viktor is originally Latin, and nowadays used in many, many different countries, Russia being among them. Viktor was implied, or even confirmed, to be the Russian baby from season 1, episode 1, so Russian.
Who else do we have? Ben. Ben, Asian.
Korean.
The Asian boy.
Korean. His actor is Korean American. Ben speaks Korean in season 3. We also literally see his birth in episode 1 of season 3.
Yeah. A selective memory on my part. That leaves Luther and Klaus. Luther maybe more like Northern Europe, and Klaus maybe Southeastern Europe?
Well, the name Klaus certainly sounds German. Or they could both be just, yes, American. They are white either way.
Yeah, Klaus. Yeah, does sound German. You're right with that.
And, well, Lila's accent sounds British. And I think she was born in London. So, she does look... well, I'm bad with human nationalities.
Yeah. Let's just say the children come from all over the world.
I mean, one of the Sparrow Kids is a cube.
Yeah.
Don't know how that happened.
He's literally a cube.
This show is very inclusive and we love it. We have people of color in... Is it persons of color in this case? People of color? Well.
Specifics.
We have them in main roles. We have actors from the LGBT plus community. We even have a blind actress. In season 2, the show even tackles racism head on, not shying away in the slightest. As a demon, I can't really talk about human racism and how it should be handled, so got no idea how well it was done. I did, however, take notice that this show addresses it more directly than most others do. And Allison's rather darker turn in season 3 was, I think, done well, in that it directly built upon all the shit that went down in season 2. It makes sense if you put yourself in her shoes. It's a natural reaction for her, considering what she went through, and it's not just done because there's like actual trauma involved that makes her do what she does in season 3. There's also this scene with Allison and Diego in season 3 where they're in the car together and comment on their siblings not getting it. That I thought was pretty great. Neat.
Yes.
All right.
Really neat indeed.
Viktor and his transition. So, Vanya had always been the awkward odd one out among a family of misfits, even during season 1, where they get their little romance gone wrong. And the way they dressed was fairly gender neutral throughout. Then we start in season 2 with Vanya falling in love with a woman, and then in season 3, coming out as transgender. I am not sure how much of Viktor's character pre-transition was influenced by the actor Elliot Page. But I think Elliot Page had a lot to say and influence. Like, the white violin not being a mostly naked woman was definitely something that came from the actor. And the transition of Vanya to Viktor came right after the actor's own transition. And also, Netflix actually updated the credits for movies and series starring Elliot Page very soon after his transition in 2020. So if you look at the credits of season 1 of Umbrella Academy, Vanya's actor will be listed as Elliot Page. Which I say, well done, Netflix. Well done.
Yes, well done indeed. Well done indeed.
So there are many ways the show could have handled Vanya's character following the actor's transition. Like, well, for one, Vanya could have just stayed Vanya, right? And there were other ways with the time travel shenanigans and shit, but I think what they decided on in the end was one of the best solutions. It is a reflection of what a real-life transition could look like. It's done quietly. The siblings don't make any fuss and take it at face value. Viktor tells them his name, and they think about it for a moment before shrugging it off and then returning to the clearly more important argument they were just in the middle of having. As they do.
I like that none of the other characters have a problem with Viktor's transition, but at the same time, I find it also like a little bit unrealistic. We don't really see a transition period where the other characters get used to them being Viktor.
I kind of disagree with you there. I don't think it's that unrealistic.
I mean, and at least for me, I would have needed some time to get used to calling them Viktor, because I would have just maybe forgotten or let it slip accidentally. Vanya, the old name. I don't know, but maybe that's just a me thing.
It depends on, I think, like,
because I could see myself let's say 80% of the time I would use the correct pronouns and correct word, but like at least for the beginning, there would be sometimes.
It's I think it's a bit different if you have someone who is like transitions with transgender, because I know someone who she's a woman and she just hates her birth name, so she changed it. And that one is a bit hard to remember because I've known her for the whole time I've been in this world under her different name, and then like over a decade later she changed her name. But I try very hard. It's also a bit difficult because like some of the people who know her just refuse to use her name because, well, some because they are intolerant ourselves, and some of them because her mom for once. That I can understand a bit because she gave her that birth name and it's a bit hard. But most people are very. It's like it's from what I heard. Like her friends all just easily accepted it and immediately switched and had no problems. Some people so, but I think it's easier if like someone who's transgender, like, this is their real identity now, and this is how they feel, and it's just easier. It's like, when you come out as a trans man, and it's like, yep, you're a man, male name, there we go.
I mean, I haven't encountered it so far in my own life with one of my friends or family or something. So I don't actually know how it would like
I know
turn
someone
out with
who's
me.
trans, came out as a woman last year. But I unfortunately don't know her new name.
Told me about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to
know
know her
them as
name
well.
now. Need to ask them. Anyway. But
Anyway.
yeah, it depends on the situation, I think. And I mean,
Yeah.
I myself am really bad at remembering names anyway, so like,
Yeah.
I would probably not even remember their original name. Dead name. I think it's called dead name in the trans community. The dead name.
Oh, Toffee darling. Toffee darling wants food.
Oh. Is it time
Later.
for... Oh, yes. It's
Yes.
exactly feeding time now. Oops.
Yes. That's why she came up to me just now and was like, "Oh,
So,
Mama."
back to... Anyway, what I wanted to say about
Yeah.
Viktor's transition. It's actually not just done and over with. Like, he comes out and that's it. There are small moments sprinkled across season 3, conversations between characters, Allison in particular. It's just not put into focus because that is not what this show is about in the first place. So, that was Viktor.
Yes.
Harlan, I think, should be mentioned here as well because Harlan is autistic. And, well, this creates some problems because the portrayal seems to be done rather well to me.
I hear a but.
It seems to be done rather well, but while Harlan's autism was well written and well portrayed, the way it was handled wasn't well done. It was good up until the point they decided to have Edison straight up murder him, and then This show is full of weird shit and a lot of gruesome murders, but this one creates issues. Actually, a lot of Allison's actions in season 3 create issues because they aren't really addressed as being harmful and bad. Like, she sexually assaults Luther, and it's just not addressed as sexual assault at all. I said earlier that Allison's going bad arc in season 3 is understandable. The trauma from what happened in season 2 and the way her personality was characterized right from the beginning building up to it. The problem mainly lies in the way the other characters, the way her siblings react to her actions. But it's like, yeah, we as the audience know that what she does is bad shit. But the characters don't really address that. Anyway, aside from Harlan's death, it was a good representation, I think.
I think you forgot someone very important.
Did I?
Klaus. Because now that I think about it, I think in the show they actually didn't pronounce his name Klaus, but Klaus.
Oh no! No, Klaus! I'm so sorry, love. I'm so sorry. Alright, let's talk about Klaus. Klaus.
Yeah.
But it just feels more natural to call him Klaus. Santa
Yes,
Claus.
I know. Because like you, at the start of this episode, you said Klaus, and I was like, yeah, makes sense. English name, Klaus. But I watched the entire 3 seasons, and now like roughly 1 hour into the episode, I remembered that I think they pronounced him Klaus.
I also watched the entire show, and I don't remember.
Yeah? Huh.
So, Klaus is interested in men. So possibly gay or bi, but bi. I always want to say bi, but it's bi or pan.
Bi.
According to his actor, he's pansexual. And, well, there goes my pan romantic fantasy. Ah, well.
Oh, poor you.
Klaus also wears eyeliner and skirts, and that's perfectly fine, and I love that. He wears what he wants without ever thinking too hard about it. Amazing. More men should wear skirts. Everyone should wear skirts. They're so much more comfortable than trousers. Trousers are awful. I hate trousers.
Yes, you hate trousers. More men should wear skirts, and
everyone should wear skirts.
And currently the cat was having, she was having fun playing with my shoes again, and now she does hate the vacuum cleaner, but she goes up to it and sniffs it. Yeah, Yeah, I think she needs some entertainment. We need to play with her after this episode is over. And she needs food. But yeah, Klaus, he's also into threesomes.
Yes. Best character ever.
Mhm.
Okay. Those were examples.
Yeah.
As always, though, I am missing ace and aromatic representations. At least we got Viktor and Klaus. Klaus for me actually reads as gender fluid, or somewhere near that spectrum, and I love him, and I want to adopt him and 5.
No eating?
Nah. Eating is for Ganondorfs, adopting is for Klauses and 5s.
What about both?
Maybe Mordan from Urha? Yeah, Mordan from Dump Husky and his White Cat Cheesin.
And what would you call what 5 had? Like a man and a mannequin? What is that called?
Something that cannot be defined by human labels.
That's why I ask you, because you're an undead demon. But I guess our audience would need human labels. So yeah.
Who needs human? It's like labels are overrated.
Yeah.
So the Umbrella Academy and its diversity are by no means perfect. Nothing ever is. But for the most part, the people who made this show seem to actually care and are considerate of all kinds of different people and communities and experiences, and that is lovely. And I mentioned this already, the actors' opinions were taken into consideration, like Klaus with his fashion choices and sexuality, and Viktor with his transition being the most obvious examples. Like the Sandman, the Umbrella Academy doesn't make a character's identity their whole personality, as some other shows do. And like transition, characters' experiences and coming out and such things, that those aren't featured heavily. It's instead integrated and kept rather low-key. Because the Umbrella Academy isn't about being queer. It isn't about coming out and LGBT plus experiences. The Umbrella Academy is a show about a dysfunctional family tragedy with weird superhero shit mixed in. So let's talk about that next. The dysfunctional family. Yes. The main theme of the Umbrella Academy is this. It is a tragedy about a super dysfunctional family mixed with some superhero stuff, blood, splatter, and gore, and some really, really weird shit. Also, something I noticed, these characters can have so many heartfelt and deep conversations, and they still manage to never get any less dysfunctional at all. And it's written in a way that makes you completely understand why that is. It's fascinating. Like, in other shows, if you have a deep, heartfelt conversation, it, like, changes the dynamic. It makes something a bit less dysfunctional. Or, it's like, something changes, but like, these characters have deep conversations and they're still the same dysfunctional mess. And it still makes sense that they're still a mess. Which is, wow. It's fascinating.
A messy, dysfunctional superhero family tragedy.
Yeah. Starts with Sir Reginald's A+ parenting.
Oh yeah. What a shitty father. That was literally my first note for the Umbrella Academy. What a shitty father.
Yes, he is possibly the source of all of their problems, or almost all of them.
He collected special children for science purposes. Eccentric billionaire with scientific interest.
And a space alien.
That already sounds like a recipe for disaster. And this show is all about an incoming disaster. The apocalypse.
Nah. The apocalypse is only a MacGuffin for the family drama. The show is all about the tragedy of a dysfunctional superhero family. On that note, why is it always 5 landing in the middle of apocalypses?
Because he is the one with space and time travel powers. That's
but
why.
Even season 2, the others land in different points of time, and it is 5 who lands in the middle of the apocalypse. It's always 5.
Yeah, it's always 5. And did you notice, April the 1st, 2019 is the day the world ended. Was it all just an April's Fool's joke?
I did not notice. But that makes a lot of sense in true Umbrella Academy fashion.
Yeah, it would. So it was all just a joke. It never actually really happened. Wow.
Fits. Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Back to the A+ parenting. Reginald doesn't even give his children names. Like the robot mom, Grace, is tasked with giving them names. Also, 5 never gets a name. He's always a number, and did nobody think of giving him a name after he came through that portal thingy and rejoined the family at the beginning of the show?
Why shouldn't 5 be a perfectly good name? There are people with the names of November. Or like weekdays. Sunday, Tuesday,
Wednesday.
whatever. And yeah, Wednesday.
Wednesday Addams.
Exactly. But I mean, Wednesday doesn't count because she's not a real person. I mean, there are people in real life called November.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 5 doesn't seem to care anyway.
Yeah. True enough. So, suppose, yeah, why not? He's 5. He rolls with it. And I can also understand that Reginald wants the children to unlock their true potential. Putting them through hardships can help with that, but I think he goes about it in the wrong way. Does he ever offer praise when one of them overcomes a hardship? Or proper guidance in what they need to do in order to improve?
Nope. I think there were better ways, more effective and less traumatizing ways to help young Klaus get over his fear of the dead than locking him into a mausoleum and terrifying him, well, to death. Literally, to death.
Yeah, definitely. There would have definitely been better ways. And had they been siblings that truly cared about each other, then the first apocalypse might have never happened, at least in the show. As long as the one with the power to destroy everything is mentally stable, it's hard for me to imagine something of this scale happening. Yeah, mental health issues ended up causing the apocalypse.
There are always ways. Humanity is too self-destructive for its own good. No, wait. It's not too destructive for its own good. It's good that they are so self-destructive. Humanity can snuff it.
I mean, you could also take away from the show that, nuclear weapons are bad.
Of course. They are. Yeah. That's humanity. And had Reginald raised them to be functional, the Umbrella Academy's central theme would have been lost.
Yeah, that too. So, the apocalypse is near. What do? Most people would spend time with the people they love. And in this case, not their siblings, obviously, because bad parenting, they are not really real siblings. They don't really care about each other. So, the loved ones are not the siblings. And what would you do, Neitshayd? I would skip work, cuddle Toffee, read, and eat all the shit I want.
Go on with my life as usual. Read, cat, read, dream of freedom.
Yeah. And also, the Umbrella Academy kids get their arses handed to them repeatedly because teamwork? What is that? Like, episode 1 of season 3 is a good example of this. It's mostly one-on-one battles, but the Sparrows are aware of each other and fight as individuals of a team, while the Umbrellas fight as individuals who happen to be fighting the same enemies.
Well, not once during those 3 seasons did Reginald Hargreaves ever truly care for his children. Neither the first batch nor the second. They are no more than means to an end.
He is a shitty father from beginning to end.
Indeed. So, sibling relationships. Platonic sibling relationships, I should add. One of them at least, because Cecilia only made notes about 2 of them. One of them? 2? Yeah, you made notes about 2 of them technically, but I cut the other one, so we only get one.
Hey!
So, Allison and Viktor and Harlan.
Yeah, we know that Allison is selfish, so why did she reach out to Vanya in the first season? While watching, I thought it was a nice gesture that it was in the name of reconnecting with her siblings and that she had to start somewhere. But after watching all 3 seasons, I'm not so sure anymore. Did she want to befriend Vanya because they were obviously powerful, to establish a bond with them to later profit from it? If she is close to the one with the most power, that automatically increases her power within the group of siblings, after all.
I keep forgetting that Allison was aware of Viktor's powers the entire time.
Yeah, she was. And, yeah,
So,
Allison...
what you said, it does make sense from that perspective. Because if
Yeah,
Allison
doesn't
hadn't
it?
known, then of course it wasn't for Viktor's powers, but Allison knew the entire time.
Yeah. She just hadn't realized really what it was all along, and is like, yeah, why did he ask me to do that? And yeah, she knew all along.
As if.
Yeah. As if. Yeah, Allison was also, she was right about Leonard. But Leonard, whatever.
Remember no wait, you didn't watch Big Bang Theory. It's Leonard.
Why would you think I didn't watch it? I did watch it.
He's also called Leonard.
Oh yeah, he is.
Leonard.
Yeah. I mean, I've lost count of how many episodes of that I have watched. I mean, I have watched every episode of The Big Bang Theory at least once, and a lot of episodes I have watched multiple times.
Every one of them? Wow.
Yeah, because
I only saw those on TV occasionally, so... But I know more about it than I should, because I always spoil myself.
I don't actually know if I did a consecutive watching, like, with back-to-back, so I think I might have done that at one point, but it was mostly the episodes that aired on TV, but, like, it airs on TV, like a lot, and I mostly watched it when it was on, because it was good, so maybe I might have missed, like, 1 or 2 episodes, but I don't think so. And most of the episodes I watched multiple times.
So,
but still, I don't know as much about the show.
Leonard. From Umbrella, back to Umbrella. We're not here to talk about Big Bang Theory. Leonard.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Allison was right about Leonard, but did she have the right motivation? Maybe she just didn't want to share the place of closest person to this powerful individual. And, yeah. Allison. And then in season 3, Allison ends things with Viktor because he cared about Harlan, the son of the woman he loved, the child who got sucked into this mess because of the umbrellas. The child who suffered from what he was thrown into, who killed their moms unintentionally. The umbrellas are also at fault, because they are kind of partially responsible for the apocalypse and time travel shit in the first place. And yeah. You're not without fault here, Allison. You really aren't. You would also have wanted to protect your daughter, even though Viktor and Harlan are not blood related and haven't known each other that long, but there is still some sort of parent-child relationship there. They still care about each other. Like, Harlan has always hoped that Viktor would come back. Just because you're grieving for your daughter, Allison, doesn't mean Viktor's feelings are less important. It doesn't mean they are not valid, you know? And I can accept that she's grieving, but that she then completely turns and doesn't even seem to try to understand Viktor's point of view. I had thought they were past that. At least she eventually comes to acknowledge the fact that her hating Viktor won't make things better, but watching that hug in season 3 made me highly suspicious if she really meant what she said. Maybe she just pretends. And, well, she did make a deal with Reginald, putting them all in danger to fulfill her own wishes. The selfish bitch that she is.
Daughter of a biscuit.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Didn't Allison also blame Harlan for her daughter not existing anymore?
Yes.
Which was definitely not Harlan's fault.
No.
The entire thing isn't Harlan's fault at all. Responsible for this
No.
mess is whoever decided to mess with time and, oh yeah, that was you, Allison, together with your siblings.
Yes.
We already established how incredibly selfish Allison is. For entertainment purposes, I enjoy seeing her interact with her siblings and romantic partners. On a personal level, I greatly dislike her in all of her personal relationships.
Yeah. Same.
Well, from that one platonic sibling relationship to relationships of romantic and or sexual nature. Let's keep this short, but not sweet, because I don't get that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, sex? What is that? Do you mean eating people? Like, yeah, Neitshayd means that quite literally. She would literally eat certain fictional characters if she could.
You know me so well. So, Wanya and Leonard. Seems sweet initially, but alas, he's a villain.
He is a walking red flag.
Next, Hazel and Agnes. Agnes. The sweetest, the bestest, a tragedy. Agnes is the most
No.
pure-hearted character in this entire show. And Hazel is a Hufflepuff killer. Bloody awesome. Hufflepuff killers. We need more Hufflepuff killers.
We need more Hufflepuff killers?
Mm-hmm.
If you say so. If you say so.
Imagine that. Everyone expects Slytherins to be evil. But the Hufflepuff assassin who stays true to their Hufflepuff goodness but are still. Or a Hufflepuff mass murderer. Ooh.
Hufflepuff is the leader of a crime syndicate?
We already got that. That's you.
Wait. No. No.
You walked into that. That's. See, you walked right into that.
Yes. Yes, I
told
did
you.
Walk right into that.
I knew
yes.
you were a crime.
That's
a crime
that's
boss.
on me.
You are a crime.
No, I'm not. But I agree with you that Hazel and Agnes, the sweetest, the bestest, a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree.
5 and Dolores. Weird but sweet.
Yeah, weird but sweet. Nothing more to add.
Yeah. Luther and Allison. Ooh, no.
No.
They are not related by blood, but it's still weird, and the characters didn't have any of that famed chemistry, as people like to call it, and it just feels icky in general.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't ship it. The reunion in season 2 was so awkward. What do they even have in common, and what attracts them to each other? It's like, I don't get it. I don't see the chemistry.
5 and Dolores all the way.
Yes.
Diego and Lila.
I think they could work out. It is a very rocky relationship, and it will be very challenging for the both of them going forward. But with proper communication, they could work out. I can see them making it work for the sake of the child, at least.
Child?
Yes, Lila is pregnant in season 3. That's why she was like, yeah, here have this 12-year-old boy. I want to see if you would be a good father because I'm pregnant.
Wasn't that just that she kind of was like, didn't her friend just ditch her with her own kid? And she just happened to have him with her?
Yeah, that too. But it was like also, yeah. Well, I think she said in the show that she was like, yeah, she wanted to test his abilities as a father, and because she was just left with the child of her friend, she decided to hatch that plan.
Enough. I hate
maybe
children.
In season 4 we will get the ultimate
I don't want
body
to.
horror.
No. Get it away from me. Enough.
Okay, moving on.
Klaus and Dave. Poor Klaus. Klaus. Santa Claus Klaus.
Okay.
Poor Klaus.
Santa Claus Klaus. Poor Klaus. Poor Klaus. We didn't see a lot of this ship. I would have loved to see more.
It's a ship when you're in fandom. It's a relationship when they are actually together.
We didn't see a lot of this relationship, and I would have loved to see more. They would have made such a cute couple.
I guess.
Give us more. Yeah.
Next, Viktor, then still under the name of Vanya, and Sissy, I believe. I think I actually enjoyed this one.
Oh,
Sissy was
wow.
really cool.
Yes, she was. That's also a ship I enjoyed. I was like, yes,
Relationship.
this is nice. Yeah. I enjoyed that relationship. That was nice. It was also sweet and tragic and shitty husband.
Allison and Raymond. I don't know. Allison is always so self-absorbed that I find it hard to appreciate any of the relationships she's featured in.
I think that's the 60s husband, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so Allison found love and married within 2 years of living in Dallas, and her anniversary is even coming up. Talking about moving fast, but considering her situation as a woman of color in Dallas in the 60s, yeah. So, how much of that was actual love on her part, and how much was for the sake of a more comfortable life? She had zero money at the beginning, after all, and with him, she could live in a nice house, and she had the opportunity to meet people and to be part of something.
Maybe it was genuine, maybe it was not.
We'll probably never know. It's just like it's Allison in the relationship. I will always doubt Allison in a relationship, whether it's genuine or not, because it's Allison.
Luther. And that sparrow lady. What's her name?
Sloane. I don't actually know how you pronounce that name. It was like, yeah, it's like that's a difficult name for me.
Sloane?
Sloane?
Sloane sounds weird. Whatever. Sparrow chick.
Yeah.
They knew each other for how long before they decided to get married? A week? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Not long.
Yeah, so why did the relationship between Luther and Sparrow Chick move so fast? Well, because Doomsday was upon them. I don't really think they fell in love. They had a crush on each other and were maybe starting to fall in love, but from what we've seen on screen, they sought comfort in these trying times first and foremost. And now she doesn't have anybody at the end by her side because Luther kind of died. So, yeah, she's now alone. She will have to face death all alone, which scary thought. And like nobody is left from the Sparrows other than Ben, and they are not particularly close. So, yeah, what she just did was she sought out someone to be close to, and that was Luther. And Luther even calls her the love of her life. But how can you really know that?
Not the love of his life?
Luther just changed gender for that one sentence.
Yeah. He's gender fluid. Sure.
Yes, cool. I've now declared him gender fluid.
That would be cool.
Not me like accidentally saying the wrong word. No, he's gender fluid now. Yes.
Well, everything is possible. So I already don't like Allison in relationships, but Luther, although I'm not sure whether Luther is the problem here.
I mean, his relationship with Allison was not really anything to begin with, at least in my opinion. And now he has experienced time traveling, almost apocalypses, and the like. I don't think he is in a place to truly fall in love from an emotional standpoint. And I would love to see how their marriage would progress after everything when all is well and peaceful. So let's wait and see.
Does the Sparrow chick even exist anymore? Everything that happened, and if she does, is she the same person Luther knew or a different person? Same with Ben, because it seems to be Sparrow Ben, but then we got this after credits scene where he wears glasses. It's like Umbrella Ben, Sparrow Ben, mix of both. Or maybe we get two Bens. in different bodies.
Ooh.
I wonder what we'll see in season 4.
Yeah, I wonder
Either
that
way,
as well.
I don't know. I don't get this relationship.
Well, then move on to other things that are not relationships.
Yeah.
How about...
Yes.
We haven't addressed the elephant in the room yet. Time travel and paradoxes.
Is that an elephant?
Yes, that is an elephant.
Okay. In season 1, it's only about 5 going to the future and coming back to prevent the apocalypse, as well as some time travel assassins showing up. They are keeping it fairly low-key, right up until the last moment where 5 takes the whole family into the past, hoping to avoid the apocalypse. Which is interesting, because like in comics, that didn't happen. They did go to the past either way in the second one, but nothing really changed. It's like it was all set in stone. It's like the time travel in the comics works out because they don't change shit.
Well, in the show, they certainly change shit.
Yeah, so the idea on the show is that there's one timeline. Kind of reminds me of the Marvel series Loki, only that the MCU uses the multiverse approach and Umbrella Academy doesn't. But we're not here to talk about Loki, unfortunately. So, this one timeline can be altered, as we see when the show progresses, and even small changes can bring about huge consequences. Season 2 gets deeper into it. Things now get indefinitely more complicated. The main problem with the Umbrella Academy's time travel approach, as I see it, is the grandfather paradox that I refuse to explain because everyone should already know what it is. There's even an entire explanation in the show, so...
Yeah, I was about to say, the show does explain it.
There are also a lot of other paradoxes involved. Might even be every single paradox possible. There are a lot of paradoxes.
Mm-hmm.
And season 3 decides to put in some actual paradox consequences in the form of a Kugelblitz, but the paradoxes should have already started causing problems since season 1. Or maybe it's that the producers can't seem to decide whether there's actually only one single timeline or multiple timelines exist after all, and what about loop timelines? And it seems at first glance to be fine, but quickly falls apart the more you think about it.
Yeah, like if current 5 goes to old 5 to take his briefcase, it will change what old 5 does, because old 5 is time traveling. It could have disastrous consequences, or maybe none at all, because the commission will come and collect him, but maybe demote him or something, which would change the jobs he is sent on, which could change the results of the jobs he was originally assigned to and got assigned now, which would once again could have drastic consequences. So, guess no matter what the result, it is drastic changes and consequences. And at least 5 is aware of the consequences that he could cause, like never traveling to the 2019 in the first place, and the whole thing unravels itself. And also, like, side effects of being in close proximity to oneself because of time travel. Why those effects specifically? That struck me as rather weird. But yeah. And if old 5 never becomes young and meets himself in this pub, then nothing will change after all, and he will meet himself again, which would change things again. So would the old 5 go back and meet himself again to instruct himself to do this or something?
Not to forget Super Old 5, the founder, the one who brought the commission into existence in the first place.
Yeah,
also exists.
As well.
We got 3 5s.
Thinking about time travel paradox just makes my brain hurt.
Sums it up nicely. Let's take... Oh gosh, I shudder to talk positively about this one. Harry Potter, Volume 3. Prisoner of Azkaban. Like, the time travel there works because it is a closed loop, and closed loops generally prevent most plot holes. Looped holes? What? Wait.
Looped holes? Yes.
Closed loops.
Please continue talking about looped holes.
Closed loops are probably the easiest way to write time travel. Whereas multiverses, the other approach, multiverses are harder to handle. And then there's alternate histories, which is kind of what Umbrella Academy does, and that's a whole can of worms that only experts should open. And in contrast to Volume 3 of Harry Potter, we got Volume 8, which doesn't exist, and that one does not work because it contradicts previously established rules. But Harry Potter is a terribly written piece of garbage anyway, with no coherent world building whatsoever. So, the Umbrella Academy, on the other hand, plays so much into its general weirdness that it can almost be forgiven for bullshitting its way through the time travel shenanigans. Considering how wacky and nonsensical the show is overall, I suppose there's really no need for consistent time travel rules. But, so much for the outside. Let's look at the inside. The Commission, the Time Travel Assassins.
Yes, the Commission. Who exactly decides what decision is the wrong one and what the timeline should look like? Because the Commission is built around that like an organized company. So, do we have a supernatural being who decides that? Because there are a lot of people and a lot of choices every day. And how do they collect the people working for the Commission? Because 5 is a special case. Do they age while working there? And also like eternal work without vacations or weekends?
Well, we see Hazel as an old man. And then he gets murdered by the Agia brothers.
Yeah. Also, the Sweets, they are amazing. They don't even need to say a word to be amazing characters. They are also kind of crazy, keeping a head in the freezer, as one does.
So I guess the time travel assassins might be able to grow old. But wasn't there a bit about their advanced technology giving 5 an enhanced body or something? I don't know. So maybe they don't age. Maybe it's just Hazel being... Isn't he a rogue? I think he goes rogue.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe he has already retired. I don't know. Also, they have weekly donuts at the Commission. Are they good, though? That's what I want to know.
You and your donuts.
Yes, me and my donuts. I do like myself a good donut. And I suppose you can retire after having worked for a decent amount of times. Still, no vacations, no weekends. That must suck. And is there a time period where you would want to retire in?
Not counting my time from before. So in this world, I never worked until we started this podcast. And I do like all the work for this podcast. But, well, I mean, a demon can't just walk into a job interview with no human education, looking decidedly not human and being dead on top of that. So, what would I retire from in the first place? Anyway, the human world is shit. I hate it here. I don't care what time period I find myself in. All I want is not to be here. I would like to be free. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Why did I even ask in the first place? I should have known the answer already. I would want to retire in a time and place where I can just live unbothered by whatever the bloody hell is going wrong with society.
Something's always going wrong with society.
But that would mean I would never retire. Oh, well, let's just say preferably with books and cats and maybe a horse? Even though I can't ride horseback yet. A nice cottage near a river with a bit of forest nearby and no financial issues. I would not want to cook myself after all. I'm retired. And I would like to have a modern day bathroom. Thank you very much, because I kind of need a shower and a proper toilet.
So many demands. The comforts of a modern human life, huh? Sure must be nice.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked without vacations and weekends for a long time. I deserve to make a few demands.
You mean in the theoretical case that you're a time travel assassin?
Yes. Didn't you say we need more Hufflepuff time travel assassins?
You do currently have weekends. Which is odd, because shouldn't a crime syndicate boss work all the time? Why do we have... why are you free on weekends again? You only sometimes go out to work pretending that you were called in for something that was not a crime syndicate, and I still don't believe you about that.
I mean, I have weekends mostly free because I'm not the boss of a crime syndicate. That's the reason.
Totally.
Yeah. By the way, I think I told you about this before. There is a model that predicts the end of the world for 2040.
Wasn't wasn't the society breaking down?
Could be. I don't remember that part exactly. Maybe. I would have to look it up again. What I do still remember is that the model is a few decades old at this point, but it is still the most accurate long-term model to date, at least from what I've read. So, dear audience, there you have it. The world will end in 17 years. Congrats. Congratulations. Maybe Neitshayd can finally escape this world when it ends and go to some other world, and maybe I can even join her and can have my witch powers again.
Doubt it. But historically, we know that advanced civilizations always kind of break apart at some point. Something always happens, and so why should the one we are currently in survive forever? Like, no way.
Yeah.
I think humanity is already well on its way to destruction.
Oh yes, I think so too.
Either way,
that's why I'm like, model world will end in 17 years. I can see that with how humanity is currently doing. I can see that.
Well, I doubt that whatever will happen, I will be able to escape. Like, humanity will all die out from, I don't know, nuclear war or something, and I will be left being undead.
Yeah.
All alone.
You said there are immortals in this world, so you can try and find one of the immortals.
Unless, I mean, absolute immortality is rare. Like, you can still, even if you don't age and don't die of most stuffs, most immortals can still technically die. It's complicated. It's complicated.
Anyways, that's it for today's episode. You can find us on Twitter at Tea and Toffies, and we are also on Spotify for the YouTube watchers.
Or if you're listening to this on Spotify or watching it on Spotify, or on YouTube at Tea and Toffies.
Yes, and if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a comment. Tell us if you know My Chemical Romance and what powers would you have. We would love to hear your thoughts, and then like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
And we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.